Okay then, Dr. Wily, here I come, to able to actually stopping you once again for the second time on this entire playthrough. Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Jewel here once again, and ladies and gentlemen, in addition to welcome back for more of the forms of the Merxy toys, but also welcome back for more of the forms of Mega Man Marathon 2 for 2022, speaking of which. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Mega Man The Wily Wars for the Sega Mega Drive / Sega Genesis. So last time we managed able to beat all 8 Robot Masters throughout the entire portion of Mega Man 2. So either way though, everything else should be fine and dandy for the most part. So today, for this video, is the fact that we're going to be hit on to the forms of the final few stages in terms of Mega Man 2. Portion of Mega Man The Wily Wars, which this time we're going to be ended up in a Dr. Wily Fortress stage. So, in this case, the most iconic version of that Dr. Wily Fortress, because obviously with that recognizable design as you see on the background, because obviously that particular design inspires by one of those Super Smash Bros. Stages for not only Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, but also the 3DS, and even Ultimate as well. So because of that though, yeah, that's super top notch and everything, despite, you know, there's no Yellow Devil on Mega Man 2 though, so I guess that makes it totally obvious for the sake of the forms of not so much appearance for certain bosses as far as this is concerned. But either way though, let's get to it with Dr. Wily Stage 2, or Stage 1 rather. I keep on thinking about the forms of the next stage coming up, but either way though, because let's face it though, is the fact that for some reason I felt a little bit slightly tired today. Not just because of how the fact that I'm usually just managed able to overslept, but the reason why I felt a little bit slightly tired while overslept is because, geez, the heat wave is actually getting a lot more aggressive when it comes to the forms of today at that one point. But thankfully we still managed able to open our windows for fresh air, and of course put our fan on just in case we can able to actually just feel the breeze. So, well, mind you though, is the fact that I rarely use the fan as much as that often, because again, saving up the electrical bills and all that stuff, but you probably guys can clearly tell for that's for the sake of time. So, anywho though, today's day is of course the 27th of August today, in this case in 2022 today. I believe, fundamentally speaking, we've only got about 5 more days to go until we move on to September. So because of that though, we're actually getting pretty close to the 9th month, as far as what other toys has already mentioned about during the course of the Mega Man Marathon 2, obviously. And yeah, that totally seems the case. So anyway, so another thing I want to able to mention about something like this is the fact that I suppose that we'll talk more about the forms of the actual several things and so for later, because, well, I just want to need to concentrate trying to able to deal with this particular jerk to able to actually just to hopefully get past. So man, I just really love the actual Wily, Dr. Wily Stage 1 music in Mega Man 2. Although I honestly do still prefer the 8-bit rendition of this music because, well, it's the most iconic. But either way though, I think the Mega Drive / Genesis version of this particular music is pretty fine for the most part. At least as far as for my circumstances, for if I still prefer the 16-bit version or the 8-bit version. It's all likely when it comes to biased or specific preferences for most people out there. So anyways, let's use the energy tank right here, so just in case we can able to actually take on the first boss in the Dr. Wily Fortress in this game for, you know, in Mega Man 2 portion. That's what it appears to be if we manage to continue going forward. We'll stumble across, of course, the Mecha Dragon. So either way though, we can able to actually take him down once again. So either way though, but this time in 16-bit, and of course less sprite flickering, which I'm very glad that's usually the case, because unlike the original Mega Man 2 on the NES, sometimes we always have to come across into those very, very ugly sprite flickering, which not only does it goes like visually distracting, but also not pleasant to look at. But thankfully on the Mega Drive or Genesis, for those of you who lived in America, thankfully the sprite flickering doesn't exist anymore. So Anyways, for Mecha Dragon, as you can see, that we easily take him down by simply using a quick burrowing, because that's his weakness, by the way. So that way we can able to easily take him down. Now I will say, that is by far one of the easiest version of that boss fight, because I don't know about you, because every time whenever I get hit by those fireballs, somehow it doesn't give me that much frustration though. I believe unlike the forms of how it does it on, I wouldn't classify for saying on the original NES version of this boss fight, that it might actually be like, well, some people might find the fireballs can be pretty annoying to dodge sometimes. Well, sporadically, as far as I'm usually concerned with that stuff though. But I digress. And also I found out that back in the forms of in 2018, that I suppose that Sonic has totally forgotten to mention about, ever since in Mega Man 2 Let's Play back in the day, for the NES days, he forgot to able to tell you guys about the, a full warning, if you ever guys watched the Mega Man 2 Let's Play back in 2018, for seizure reducing area, which I know it's not pleasant able to see that coming, but I must be honest for this point guys, I do apologize for that, because even then though, I just not able to warn Sonic for this next time, because either way though, that he forgot to mention about, or maybe I don't know, because it has been about 4 years ago since we actually last did Mega Man 2 Let's Play, not counting the forms of the Game Boy version, which we already did recently this year, thanks to, well, let's just say that, you know, Proto Man did already tackle for Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy, so, yeah, you probably get the idea about that, so. Anyway though, so let's go ahead and move on to Wily Stage 2, so we can able to just, well, trying to get rid of the forms of those mini drill stuff, and thankfully we actually got a lot of extra lives to work with, so that means we don't need to worry about the forms of getting the actual constant game over and stuff like that, which I can assure you that unlike in, well, maybe sometimes in the forms of in Mega Man 2 on the NES Let's Play, I'm presuming so. That's basically though, I'm pretty sure that Sonic did somehow manage to able to got the game over on that game. Where, like, I'm pretty sure this is mainly due to the fact that, well, I'm kind of sure to you because of the forms of, well, it might be hard to explain because I know for the fact it has been quite a few hours and stuff like that, so, well, at least, despite the fact that he did a bit of a jump cut for the sake of time, so, you know, you get the idea about that, so. But anywho, let's go in and use item 2, just in case I need able to get that health pickup, well, not so much item 3, because obviously that we're able to actually use that for several segments later, so we'll just grab that, and then I believe the next boss fight is going to be down below, so we'll just go ahead and just dive right in, and I'm meant to able to try to change my weapon equipment to, let's just say, metal blade, so that way we can able to take on the next boss fight, which we ended up trapped inside the room, or to be more specifically, we're about to be faced off against with Picopico-kun, which I think that's what the boss's name was. So even then, I do apologize for that particular mispronunciation of those specific boss names. So anyway, so at the very least, this boss fight might be tamed for its difficulty, thanks to the forms of, well, to be more specifically, using Metal Blade throughout the whole entire fight. So you still have to watch out not to get touched by those things, because obviously if you dare touch one of these, basically though, that you will able to actually get a lot of, like, damage outputs on you, so. Anyway, stage 2's done, and only a few stages left now, so, and while that's been done, well, I can assure you that we're pretty much almost to the halfway point in terms of Mega Man The Wily Wars so far. So in this case though, is the fact that, well, since that we've already done Mega Man 1, so we're still in the middle of this process of Mega Man 2, so in this case though, after we're done with that, then we can move on to Mega Man 3 portion of the Wily Wars until tomorrow and the next day, so yeah, you get the idea about that. So anyways, let's use the actual item 2 to get up there, and use the Crash Bomber to be able to break those little gate barriers to not only get the E-Tank, but also just manage to able to refill our weapon energy for Crash Bomber until the next stage after this. So you probably already know what the next stage is going to come up, which most people might find the next stage to be a tad frustrating because of that one fatal flaw But then again, you probably already know what I mean whenever we get to that. So, and of course we have to go into this water section while trying to jump over this little munchy fish, so that way we can able to actually try to avoid them at all costs. Jeez, it has filled to the brim with spikes in this area, which if you dare touch it though, you have to start all over for the level again, so just be very careful right here. So I'm quite surprised that we actually went for this stage quite fast, as you can tell, because well, most of the levels in Dr. Wily stages in Mega Man 2 might actually be quite short, but most of the time the difficulty, well, it's nothing unfair, but it's quite fair for its challenge, at least as far as I'm usually concerned with that stuff. So anyways, let's equip the quick burrowing weapon, just like the forms of how it does it on Dr. Wily Stage 1. So in this case, we're about to take on the next boss, which is Guts Tank. So basically, quick burrowing is its weakness, so we can just simply just keep on spamming the quick burrowing on him, and he's down for good. And that particular design of Guts Tank is almost inspired by Gutsman. So seriously, what is up with Dr. Wily? Always seems to able to have a love relationship with Gutsman, as far as that's been designed for basically for everything else. So, but anyways, that pretty much concludes stage 3. Not too difficult, except on the spike sections, which can be pretty difficult for some players. So now let's move on to, I would say, kind of an infamous level for the likes of the forms of this particular variation of this Dr. Wily's Fortress, which is Dr. Wily Stage 4 in Mega Man 2, just because at the very end, though, we only have to deal with this one particular boss that I wasn't really a big fan of, but I'm sure that most people already know what I'm gonna say. There's another extra life there, but unfortunately, though, I can't afford to get one, because I'm pretty sure my lives counter is already maxed out, up to 9 anyway, so, because I was expecting that the max counter will be 10 for the actual lives counter, but apparently though that 9 is going to be the locked portion for the sake of the forms of the lives counter, for the sake of the forms of this entire, you know, Mega Drive / Genesis version of Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, in addition to the 4th unlockable game, which I'll talk more about it until whenever we get to towards at the very end of the entire month. So yeah, we can expect this much. So let's just go ahead and deal with this enemy. And I wonder if we can able to actually get that another energy tank from up there though. But either way though, I can't really tell if we can able to grab it or not. And in fact, I've already almost run out of item 2. But is it possible we can use item 1? There we go. Whew. So that way we're able to get ourselves 4 energy tanks to spare, so that way we don't need to worry about the forms of frustration anytime soon, until whenever we come across into the final few stages up ahead. So, excuse me, I've got something on my throat there, I do apologize for that folks, but anyway, so let's talk about the forms of another continuation of the forms of, actually, kind of think about it, I should probably talk more details about the forms of other things until in the next coming days. Like, you know, let's just say that originally I was expecting to try and able to mention about the forms of gaming related stuff, but I think I'm also able to do that discussion a little bit more differently this time, because obviously I'm going to be discussing upon, basically, you know, these certain films that managed to came out throughout the years for a very, very long time ago. Well, I thought to myself, I'm also able to actually decide to mention about that specific stuff again. Mind you, though, in fact, the fact of the matter is, though, is the fact that I've already mentioned about several films came out ages ago when certain box office performance-wise, ranging from let's just say in 1922 and 1932. So I figure for the sake of the forms of today anyway, we can probably discuss upon the forms of certain films came out every now and then in the past of the forms of the actual box office performance for certain years in a very long time ago. Like, for example, let's talk about the forms of well, first of all, we need to discuss upon the forms of 1942 first, which is roughly almost the exact same year as in the forms of the same tragic happens for the likes of World War II and stuff like that, at least for I've researched on it anyway. But anyways, actually, I'll get to more details about this in a moment, because obviously though, that we've almost nearly at the end of, you know, this particular stage. For the most part, getting to the actual stage wasn't too bad though, despite the fact that it can be pretty difficult in some scenarios. But the worst offender of this particular stage for me though is of course the stupid turret boss, or in some cases though, let's go ahead and use our energy tank, which we've already did, and let's go ahead and only equipped, not just by the forms of item 1 for its helpful usage, but also the only time you can only deal with these guys is just using Crash Bomber, which that was the only weakness, and you can only deal with them by using Crash Bomber. So yeah, this is the forms of Boobeam Trap. So in its case, my least favorite boss in the game, just because like I said, you only have few shots specific until you're able to deal the damage of this particular room itself, filled to the brim with these turrets and stuff like that, because nothing else hits those turrets. Because if you use the Crash Bomber so many times, then guess what, you're not gonna beat the boss. So because of that though, yeah, this is the most annoying fight in the game, just because you only have to use a few amounts of those Crash Bombers if possible, so I highly suggest you not run out of them. But thankfully I managed to deal with this within the first attempt, I should say. So either way though, at the very least we got that out of the way, so... Alright, so let's move on to Dr. Wily Stage 5, where this is the first ever Mega Man game, well, at least for specifically in this entire releases of Mega Man games industry, at least if I were to say from the NES version, is that you can able to fight against with, all the 8 Robot Masters as a rematch before you fight against with Dr. Wily, whilst compared to Mega Man 1, it's more likely, you fight against with all these Robot Masters sporadic, whilst in here though, it's all about just, trying to able to refight against them on that specific teleporting rooms, whilst unlike the forms of how it does on Mega Man 1, that you fight 2 Robot Masters in Stage 2, and you fight the rest on the legs of the final stage before you take on Dr. Wily himself. So yeah, we already know the drill, basically just fight against those robots again, but since we actually got all these weapons from previous stages ago, so that means we don't need to worry about the forms of trying to using the actual Mega Buster to able to actually deal with the forms of an amount of damage for certain Robot Masters as far as I'm concerned. In addition, with Metal Man, which obviously since we're going to be doing this with the with his metal blades, this means 2 hits and boom, he's done. He's toast. Although, unlike in the English version of Mega Man 2 on the NES, that on normal mode, that basically he got killed by 1 hit with that particular metal blade of his own weapon. So yeah, it seems kind of weird, but fun is a little bit more of a intriguing to able to actually try to mention about that stuff though. So anyways, let's go ahead and take down Flashman so we can Quickman, sorry. I keep thinking about the forms of another Robot Master for some reason, because like I said, I'm feeling a little bit slightly tired, but nowhere near as like overly drowsed on like certain days in the past, as far as this is concerned. So anyways, let's use the energy tank here, so just in case I don't die, and then trying to able to refight against with Quickman for without any like flash stopper. So come on, he's almost down. There he goes. Whew. Oh, thank the Lord. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. So what's in here though? This is Bubble Man, so we can easily take him down with a Metal Blade. I think we should probably save some of the Metal Blade weapon until for later, because obviously it'll do like super effective status whenever you're trying to use it until whenever we get towards the very end of this particular stage. So at the very least we did easily take down Bubble Man, no problem. So anyway, so let's go ahead and send out let's just say we'll send out Woodman or the Leaf Shield, so we can able to take on Airman. So now we actually got the primary weakness to Airman, so we can just, well, as long as you were able to use the invincibility frames and then just trying to go for those little wins, and that way you can easily just manage to able to take him down for about quite a few hits, and then boom, he's down. Nicely done for my skills. So anyway, so while this is going, let's talk about the forms of certain films came out of every now and then back in the day. Like, let's just say, let's go all the way back to 80 years ago, likely in 1962. So in this case though, the exact same year as when Disney film Bambi came out, during the course of in the exact same year, all things considered. So in this case though, is the fact that the top 10 best, box office performance in the films of in 1942, despite it's not that much compared to its present day, but at the very least back in the day it's quite impressive. So in this case though, number 10 goes to The Black Swan. So never heard of it, but I've have research on it, and it's actually doing alright for its box office as far as I think I've heard about it anyway. So anyways though, so number 9 goes to Somewhere I'll Find You, and number 8 goes to For Me and My Gal, and number 7 goes to Wake Island, and number 6 is for The Pride of the Yankees, and number 5 is Holiday Inn Road to Morocco, and number 4 goes to Rape the Wild Wind, and number 3 is Yankee Doodle Dandy, and number 2 is Random Harvest, and number 1 is Mrs. Minnie Fur. So, never actually heard of those films before, but because, well, I never actually grown up with these films, to be honest with you. So, anyways, let's take on Dr. Wily for its, his machine and stuff like that, Wily Machine 2, and easily being taken down thanks to the forms of the Metal Blade, and since I've managed to save up my E-tanks or energy tanks to spare, so thankfully I don't need to worry about the forms of gaining a game over or dying so many times, because otherwise, if you die and get a game over, thankfully your weapon reveal did manage to able to fill up instantly if you somehow managed to able to decide to use the continue. So in this case, you probably get the idea about that. So anyway, once Dr. Wily is down, although he managed to get away, so in this case we're about to take on the final stage in Mega Man 2. So in this case it does manage to take place somewhat down below. So yeah, filled to the brim with like no music, and if we eventually able to continue things on throughout the level, there's a bit of blood, or these red drips coming from the ceiling. Kind of weird, honestly. So anyways, another thing I want to discuss upon is let's take a look back on the films of been 70 years ago, since 1952, of certain top 10 films. They actually got a pretty good box office for the sake of the top 10 highest grossing films in the likes of in 1952. So in this case, number 10 goes to High Noon, Son of Paleface, or Paleface as far as I like to say. Number 9 goes to Come Back Little Sheba. Okay, a bit weird. Number 8 goes to The Quiet Man, and number 7 goes to Jumping Jacks, and number 6 is Moulin Rouge. I think that's what it says anyway. Number 5 is Sailor Beware. Number 4 is Avan Ho, and number 3 is Hans Christian Andersen. And number 2 is The Snows of Carapagio. I do apologize for that mispronunciation of that film's name, by the way, so I misjudge you for that. And finally, number 1 is The Greatest Show on Earth. So I guess that's pretty much it, really. And finally, for that final topic, while I'm trying to deal with the forms of the final boss in Mega Man 2, which is none other than the alien itself, which, hey, at least that was before when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was a thing. Basically, though, one of those classic routes for the classic mode routes for Mega Man anyway, that you're able to actually fight against with not only Dr. Mario, trying to represent him with the forms of Dr. Wily himself, but also after that though, you take on Mewtwo, which trying to represent the forms of Mewtwo as an alien. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So after you deal with an alien, turns out it's just a hologram of an alien throughout the entire time, while Dr. Wily trying to take control of it. So, and there we go. That pretty much concludes Mega Man 2 on Mega Man The Wily Wars, basically. So, yeah, once again, Dr. Wily's gonna do his beg for forgiveness again. So, in this case, though, I think this might actually be another time that we actually see Mega Man on this great color scheme. So, in this case, though, yeah, once again, Mega Man just leaves. Why does he keep doing that, though? I don't know. We'll find out until whenever we get into Mega Man 3 portion of this entire compilation game, so there's nothing else to say. So, anyways, now let's get to the final topic for today anyway, while the ending is actually rolling. because there's not much else to say, because obviously Mega Man 2 is such a most, you know, the iconic and also one of the popular Mega Man games of all time, which is very understandable and true at the same time, just because of the amazing soundtrack and all that stuff though, so I guess there's not much else to discuss. So, anyway, for 1962, for its top 10 best box office performance, for the sake of likely top 10 of them, like, number 10 goes to In Search of the Castaways. Never heard of it, but it might be intriguing though. Number 9 goes to Bon Voyage, The Entrance. I think that's what it's called anyway. Number 8 goes to Golbisi. I do apologize for that particular name of the film, by the way, so I do apologize for that. And number 7 goes to Hatria. And number 6 is To Kill a Mockingbird. Okay. Number 5 is Mintiny on the Bounty. Okay. And number 4 is That Touch of Monk. Okay. Never actually heard of it, but hey. Number 3 goes to The Music Man. And number 2 is Lawrence of Abria. Okay. And finally, The Longest Day is the number 1 box office in 1962. It seems kind of odd that Dr. No, the very first James Bond film, never actually make it to the top 10 best box office performance in 1962, because, well, I honestly have no words to think about it. But I'll discuss more details about the films of the years of box office performance until the later days, for, you know, for the likes of the continuation Let's Play of Mega Man The Wily Wars. So, and yeah, that's basically all there is to say when it comes to that particular discussions for this point, folks, because I know for the fact that we actually done the second game so far for the likes of the Mega Man The Wily Wars compilation, so because of that though, yeah, everything's all comes together, doesn't it? Especially noticeable, I did manage to breezily went through this within no sweat whatsoever. So anyway, so I hope you guys are able to enjoy this part for the likes of Mega Man The Wily Wars so far. So in this case though, we got the endings off here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of Mega Man The Wily Wars. It's the fact that we are tackling through the third game in this compilation, and here we go on to Mega Man 3. So hope you guys will be looking forward to this, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later fellas.